I still remember the first day that old woman walked into the lobby of Gold Line Group. Her clothes were faded. Her shoes looked like they had walked through 1,000 dusty roads, and her hand shook a little as she clutched a brown handbag. I didn't know her name then. All I knew was that she had come to work as a cleaner. She smiled at everyone, but no one smiled back. In a company like ours, people only respect you when you look rich or powerful. And that day, she looked like someone life had already defeated. The receptionist whispered, "That's the new cleaner." I heard she begged for the job herself. I didn't even look at her twice. I was the supervisor of the admin department, and I had seen many cleaners come and go. Most of them didn't last 2 weeks. They were too lazy or too slow. So, when I saw her wiping the glass door that morning, I only told her, "Make sure those doors shine before my boss comes in." She nodded gently. "Yes, Ma," she said in a calm voice. But there was something strange about her. The way she walked, the way she looked around the office. It didn't seem like someone who had never seen wealth before. She looked too calm, too comfortable in that big building full of polished floors and shiny walls. Still, I didn't care. Days passed, and she became a regular sight. She greeted everyone, even a rude security guard. She would pack up leftover food from the canteen and feed the street kids outside during her lunch break. I used to mock her behind her back, saying, "That old woman likes pretending to be good. Who even told her to be Mother Teresa?" We laughed. We didn't know who we were laughing at. Then one morning, everything went wrong. I had a bad day. The boss yelled at me, and the office printer stopped working again. When I came out of my office, the cleaner was on her knees, scrubbing a coffee stain near my desk. I snapped, "Didn't I tell you not to clean while I'm around?" I shouted. She looked up quietly and said, "Sorry, Ma. I didn't mean to disturb." "Sorry for yourself," I hissed. "Next time, know your place. You people like acting as if you own the company." She only smiled sadly and said, "It's okay. God sees all." That made me even angrier. I thought she was being sarcastic. I didn't know she was just telling the truth. For weeks, I made her life harder. I gave her extra work, insulted her in front of others, and even accused her of stealing when my pen went missing. But she never raised her voice, never complained, never fought back. She only said, "No problem, Ma. I understand." One afternoon, our CEO, Mr. Daniel, called an emergency meeting. He told us his mother would be visiting the company soon. Everyone was excited. No one had ever seen her before. The mysterious woman who raised one of the richest men in Lagos. Rumor had it that she lived abroad, surrounded by luxury. Some said she rarely came to Nigeria. We all wanted to impress her. So we cleaned the whole building, polished the floors, and even ordered new flowers for the reception. When the day came, we waited for her arrival. The cleaner was still working that morning. She wore her usual faded uniform and headscarf. She looked more tired than usual, but still calm. I remember telling her to hurry up because an important woman was coming. Around noon, the CEO arrived, tall, handsome, and smiling as always. He entered with a small group of people. Everyone stood up and greeted him warmly. Then he turned to the cleaner. "Mama," he said softly. At first, we thought he was joking. We even laughed. But when he bent down to hug her, right there in front of everyone, my laughter froze in my throat. The cleaner smiled shyly and said, "My son, you didn't tell me you would come early." Everyone went silent. The air felt heavy. The CEO turned to us, still holding her hand. "Everyone," he said, "meet my mother, Mrs. Grace." I felt the blood drain from my face. The woman I had shouted at, insulted, and ordered around was not just anyone. She was the mother of a man who owned the entire company. The room was so quiet that you could hear the air conditioner humming. Some people gasped. Others bowed their heads in shame. I wanted the ground to open and swallow me whole. But she didn't look angry. She only smiled, the same calm, gentle smile she always had. "It's okay," she said. "Sometimes God hides our true faces to test the hearts of others." And that was the moment my heart broke, because I knew she was right. I had failed the test. That night, I could barely sleep. Her words kept echoing in my head. Sometimes God hides our true faces to test the hearts of others. I had failed that test in the worst possible way. The next morning, I thought she would come to the office in fine clothes, maybe in a chauffeur-driven car with bodyguards. But she didn't. She came exactly the same way she always did, on foot, with her small brown handbag and that same gentle smile. She still wore her cleaner's uniform. The only difference was that everyone now rushed to greet her. The same people who used to ignore her suddenly stood up when she walked in. They called her Madam Grace and offered to carry her mop and bucket, but she refused. "No, my children," she said softly. "If I stop cleaning now, it means I was pretending. I started this, and I will finish it." Her humility broke something inside me. Later that week, Mr. Daniel gathered us all in the boardroom. His voice was calm but firm. "My mother came here for a reason," he said. "I didn't ask her to. She came on her own. I didn't even know until yesterday that she had been working here for 3 months as a cleaner." The room went silent again. "She wanted to know what kind of people worked with me," he continued. "She wanted to see who among you treated people with respect, even when you thought no one was watching." I felt my hands shaking under the table. Then he said something that pierced my heart completely. "She was actually looking for someone," he said. "A woman who is kind, humble, and has a good heart. She wanted to find me a wife. Not one who dresses fancy or speaks fine English, but one who treats everyone with love." Some people gasped. I felt my stomach twist. My eyes went straight to Mrs. Grace, who was seated beside her son, still smiling politely. I realized in that every smile, every calm word, every quiet moment she had was part of something much bigger than I could ever understand. She wasn't there to clean floors. She was there to clean hearts. After the meeting, I couldn't take it anymore. I walked up to her, tears filling my eyes. I knelt right there in front of her and said, "Mama, I'm so sorry. I treated you so badly. Please forgive me." She touched my head gently. "My daughter, stand up. I forgave you long before you asked." Her voice was soft, but it carried weight. "Life is a way of humbling us," she said. "What matters is that we learn and change." That day, something changed in me. For the first time, I saw people differently. I realized that behind every cleaner, driver, or security guard is a story. Sometimes, a story we could never imagine. Weeks went by, and the company returned to normal. But Mrs. Grace's presence had changed everything. The workers were kinder. People shared food. Even the CEO became more involved with his staff. It was like her quiet spirit had washed the whole company clean. Then one afternoon, she called me into her office. Yes, her office. Mr. Daniel had given her a small room beside his, even though she still preferred to move around the building with her mop. I walked in nervously, unsure why she wanted to see me. She smiled warmly. "I watched you these past few weeks," she said. "You've changed, and that makes me happy." "Thank you, Ma," I said quietly. She nodded. "You remind me of myself when I was young, strong but sometimes too proud. Pride is a wall, my dear. When we break it down, love finds its way in." Then she said something that made me freeze. "I think you are the one." "The one?" I asked, confused. She smiled again. "The one I was looking for." I didn't understand until Mr. Daniel walked in. He smiled shyly, for the first time since I had known him. "Mama thinks we should get to know each other better," he said. My mouth went dry. Me? But Mrs. Grace laughed softly. You think I didn't see your heart change? You learned your lesson, and that's what matters. Love grows in hearts that are willing to change. It felt like a dream. We started talking, slowly at first. I was careful, respectful, still unsure if I deserved any of it. But Mr. Daniel was kind and gentle, just like his mother. He never mentioned the past. Instead, he saw who I was becoming. Months passed. Then, one bright afternoon, he proposed. The wedding was small, but beautiful. Every staff member attended. Mrs. Grace wore a gold-laced dress and cried as she hugged me. I told you, she whispered. Sometimes, God hides our true faces to test the hearts of others. But when we pass that test, He rewards us with more than we expect. Years later, people still talk about her story, how a billionaire's mother disguised herself as a cleaner to find her son a wife. Some say it was strange. Others say it was foolish. But to me, it was divine, because she didn't just find a wife for her son. She found herself a daughter. And I, the woman who once looked down on her, found my true worth in the very person I had disrespected.